Welcome to our workshop. I'm Shari Steinbach, one of the Meijer dietitians. We actually have 5 dietitians that work for Meijer, but we are in 200 stores in 5 states. So I am here working out of the corporate office in Grand Rapids and cover all West Michigan and Northern Michigan. And we have dietitians in that cover Indianapolis, Chicago, the Ohio market out of Cincinnati, and then the Detroit area as well. And really, it's our job to be in the community a lot because there's only 5 of us. We really aren't in stores as much as we'd like to be, hopefully someday when I can hire more dietitians. But we're out in the community. So these types of community events, and we all have regular media spots in the markets that we're in too. And really our job is to show people how to live healthier, but to do it simply, which is all what we're looking for, right? We say we kind of help you put the foods that we sell in our stores into easy, affordable, and healthier meal plans. So whether you are on a gluten-free diet or you're somebody who's trying to watch your weight or you have diabetes, heart disease, or just a regular family that's just trying to stay healthier, we're there to help you, show you how to put the healthier foods that are in our stores together into easy meals. And that's what I'm finding now is a lot of people aren't cooking as much as they used to. Do you agree with me? We're finding the culinary literacy, I call it, the culinary or cooking knowledge just isn't there the way it used to be. And I remember my grandma, it was her job. She died at 97, and I have distinct memories of her getting up and, cooking breakfast, and she would do her house chores, she would cook lunch. That was her job. And now so many of us are working outside of the home, men and women both, that we just don't have the time, really, to put together meals from scratch. We might do it a few times a week, but if you're like me, most of the time I call it assembly meals, right? We're assembling foods together. But we show people how there are some convenient, healthy foods at the store that you can really eat healthy and eat at home still, but do it still very quickly. We know that the more you eat out, you don't know really what's in your food, right? Especially if you are trying to avoid gluten, eating out can be very difficult. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to watch your fat or your sodium, eating out can be very difficult and it's more expensive. So we do know that people who eat at home tend to be healthier, tend to eat less calories, less fat, less sodium, and all of that. But it's, again, just that challenge to know how to do all that. I say cooking is kind of the gateway to eating healthy because if you can cook, you know what you're putting in your menus and menu plans and then what goes into your body. So that's a big part of it. What we're going to talk today about is our Nu-Val Nutrition scoring system in part, because again, whether you have celiac disease or avoiding any certain foods, it's important for everybody to know what Nu-Val is, our nutrition scoring system, so you can identify the healthier foods at a glance. How many people know what Nu-Val is? Oh, good. That I'm not going to repeat myself too much. A couple of you do know what it is. But Nu-Val is our nutrition scoring system. Think about it as the nutritional value of your food. It is a scoring system that we have in all of our stores, all 200, well, I think it's actually 199 stores right now. And it is on the shelf tag. Now, you've got a brochure that's in front of you, and I want you to take a peek at that. The one that says How to Bag Better Nutrition. Yes. Oh, yep, they're right up here. Melissa, who is helping me out up here, Melissa Miller, is one of my daughter's best friends. They went to high school together, and she has to avoid gluten, and she said, Shari, I'm going to come to your workshop. So I put her to work. I will reward her with some of my products up here that I bought that are gluten-free. But if you take a look at that brochure, what I want you to know about Nu-Val and why we chose it. Nu-Val is not owned by Meijer. It is not owned or has nothing to do with any food companies. It's completely independent, which we like. Then it's also based in science. There was a scientific panel that put Nu-Val together over about a 2.5-year period. They developed a mathematical algorithm that would score food. Looks at over 30 components of every single food and gives it a score 1 to 100. The higher the score, the higher the overall nutritional value of the food. It's that simple. Now, if you look on the inside, you see a sample shelf tag in there. And I apologize because this brochure is a little bit older. This other one that you have that shows the self-guided tour, that's the new shelf tag. And do you see where that score is in the upper left-hand corner? That's the Nu-Val score. And on every shelf tag in the store, and I've got a couple samples up here of some products, you're going to see this score in the upper left-hand corner. And again, 1 to 100, the higher the score, the higher the overall nutritional value of the food. It is that simple. We've done the work for you. And a lot of people have told us, you know, I get confused looking at that nutrition facts panel and not sure what I'm supposed to look at and this, that, and the other. This just gives you a holistic view of that food. So let me give you a couple examples. And what I like to say, too, is it helps you find the most nutrition for your money. Now, right now, I'm not talking about gluten in particular, am I? I'm just talking about foods. But I don't care, again, if you're trying to avoid gluten or you're just trying to eat healthier. Even among the gluten-free products, up and down the aisles that we have, the produce department, the meat department, the dairy department, which has a lot of naturally gluten-free foods, right? We should all be making the healthier choices just for our, you know, for our own well-being. And the studies with Nu-Val have shown the people who eat the higher scored foods, they lower all their risk of dying by 12%, 10 to 12%, which is huge. Now, it won't be a surprise to tell you what department is, well, you guess, what department in the store has the highest scores? Yeah, fruits and vegetables. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? If you look in this brochure at the beginning, it will tell you the more added sodium, added sugars, you guys need some handouts, they're right up here. Added sugars, added sodium, trans fat, cholesterol, and saturated fat is in a product, the scores are going to come down. Make sense? Because scientifically, again, we know that the more of those harmful or not so good nutrients that are in food, the less healthy it is. The more fiber, vitamin A, vitamin C, omega-3 fatty acids, all of those healthy things, the more of those items that are in a score will go up. Again, 21-page mathematical algorithm that scores this food. But if you look at that, it kind of can tell you in a nutshell, you know, why some scores are what they are. What I really like about Nu-Val, too, is it cuts through the marketing clutter. You know how confusing it is in the stores? We've got, what, 65,000 products on the shelves? It's so confusing to go up and down that cereal aisle and you see, oh, multigrain Cheerios. I mean, this is what some people say. It must be healthier, right? Because it's multigrain. Well, is it or isn't it? Guess what? Multigrain Cheerios is a 27. Regular old Cheerios are a 37. Why? There's more sugar. But you don't see that as the typical consumer. Or some products you see that say, you know, smart balance or healthy for you, or they're in a green package, so they must be healthier, right? You know, Kraft used to have their own little labeling system. It looked like a little sun, and whenever you saw that it was supposed to be healthier for you, well, Cool Whip had that on it. Is Cool Whip a healthy food? Have you ever looked at what's in the ingredients of Cool Whip? It's just really nothing, you know what I mean? And it's got some hydrogenated fat. I think Cool Whip's like a 1 or 2 on Nu-Val. So this is the reason, again, that I really like it. It's independent of any food makers whatsoever, and it is based in science. And we're one of about 25 retailers across the country that has Nu-Val. So it's not ours exclusively. But I wanted to tell you about that first and foremost because Nu-Val is a tool for you, again, whether you have celiac disease or not, to look for the healthiest foods up and down the aisles. Now, there's some controversy out about Nu-Val right now because some of the Produce for Better Health people are saying, oh, you know, the canned fruit scores really, really low and we don't think that should be. But if you take a nice wholesome peach, which is 100, or an orange, and you peel it and you process it and you put it in some sugar water, or even if it's an extra juice, does it have the same nutritional value? It doesn't. And so, yes, you will see canned fruit scores being pretty low. And in this this note that was out there, they talked about, well, there's a turtle brownie mix that has a 23, and I saw canned fruit that has a 7. Well, first of all, compare within categories a little bit, you know what I mean? Well, and guess why this turtle brownie mix had this score? It had walnuts in it. Walnuts are the highest scoring nut because of the omega-3 fatty acids. They're an 87. And there was also something else was in it, I can't remember, that would bump the score up. Now, is 23 or 22 still a high score? No. I mean, common sense, we're not going to eat brownies all day. Melissa could, I know. I know she likes chocolate. But, you know, common sense is used with that too. But here's how it can help you too. So we've got a couple different peanut butters up here. Now this regular Jif is a 20. And this crema, which is an all-natural peanut butter, is a 51. That's a big jump, isn't it? Big jump. Low-fat Jif. There's a low-fat Jif out there. Now, again, wouldn't we think automatically low-fat, fat's bad, so the low-fat must be healthier for us. Guess what the low-fat Jif score is? Regular is 20. 7. Why? When they take out some of the natural peanut oil, they put in more sugar, they put in more sodium, and the grams of fiber go down by half. Now, if you're somebody that has a certain disease and you need low fat, maybe that could be an okay product for you. But we don't want people to be deceived. So it really is. It's like a GPS to spot the healthier foods at a glance. Couple of canned items here, as you heard me talk about canned fruit. But these regular canned sweet peas Meijer are 39. Why? Salt, right? When they can stuff, there's salt in there. But here I have a can of no salt added sweet peas, and they're a 96. Guess what frozen peas are with nothing added? 96. What are fresh peas? 96. So it helps you find the best nutrition for your money. Green beans are 100. Now, if green beans are in season, then they could be very affordable from the produce department. If they're not in season, gosh, I'm not going to buy them. You know, they're really expensive. I might buy frozen. They're 100 if there's nothing added. Now, if we put a triple cheese sauce on, the score drops, of course. But canned green beans, no added salt, 100. So kind of think about that. I brought some other items up here that are gluten-free, and I wanted you to see these are just canned tomatoes, for example. People see me in the store at 49, which is a good score. Of course, when they're canned, there's usually a little more sodium added. People laugh at me in the store, or they're looking at me because I get stuff off the shelf and then I write the Nu-Val score on the label. They're probably thinking, what is that woman doing? And then I put them in my cart because I can't memorize all the scores. The black beans here are really high. They are 82. Gluten-free item, right? Are beans a very affordable ingredient and very healthy? Beans count as a protein and they count as a vegetable serving. Tuna fish, 63. Tuna in water, 63. So items out there that, you know, these aren't in a special gluten-free section. These are up and down the aisles, but you can see them and you can see the health level of those by looking at that Nu-Val score. So I want you to just keep that in mind. One thing I want to say, though, nobody's going to eat hundreds all day long. We're all going to eat a range of scores. So with Nu-Val, some people go, oh, so anything under 50 is bad and anything over 50 is good. No, that's not what we're saying. Because there's some categories where you're never going to have 100. Do you think there's 100s in the cookie aisle? No. Or the chip aisle? No. But you would be amazed to see some of the corn chips and their scores compared to maybe a potato chip or another corn chip. So even in the snack aisle and even in the cookie aisle and even in some of those aisles, you're going to see some places where you can trade up, that I call trading up. And every time you trade up, even 5, 10, 15, 20 points, that can make a difference in the overall nutrition that you're putting into your body. So keep that in mind. And sometimes, isn't it in the gluten-free section of our stores? Because this is sometimes where I'm like, what's typically in that gluten-free section? Super healthy food? Snacks and baking mixes, right? So they used to have like healthy living over the gluten-free section, and I know why they did that. I know why they did that, to kind of show us that this is a special section. This is a special, dietary section. Was it healthier? Not necessarily, because a baking mix, a brownie mix is a brownie mix. Yeah, it's maybe using rice flour or something else instead of the wheat, but it's still a baking mix. So just because something, and you know that, just because something says gluten-free doesn't mean it's a healthier product. One thing that I do want you to know, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Here's some other products that I pulled, and I got to look at my cheat sheet because I had fun shopping going, oh, I can show this. This has a good score. Brown rice flour, the Bob's Red Mill brown rice flour, 87 on Nu-Val. Anybody buy that? Use that sometimes. Brown rice in and of itself, Good old Meijer brown rice, 91. Inexpensive, right? So a lot of times too, you can, to get that cost down, you can look for the store brands because those costs are almost always lower. And it's instant, so it's fast, and I like fast. Fast and healthy and affordable. Those are everything I love. Crunchy Flax cereal right here is a 40. Now I want you to start thinking as I'm talking about Nu-Val, do we just eat one thing all day? No. So some people will say, well, a 40. Well, by the way, the average score in the cereal aisle is a 27. So is a 40? 40 is pretty good for a cereal. Shredded wheat, which I know a lot of you don't eat, is a 91, just to give you some examples. But this is not about one score. It's about the meals that you put together. So I want you to start thinking about that. Chobani vanilla Greek yogurt has a real, I don't think I wrote the score down for this, but typically the Greek yogurts are higher because it's double the protein. So they're going to range depending if there's fruit and more sugar added to them. Some of them, the plain, are the upper 90s or in the 90s to even the 50s, 60s, 70s. So let's say this is around 60. I'm not exactly sure. So for breakfast, maybe I'm going to have that. Healthy for me? Yep. And for some crunch, I'm going to add this flax cereal to it. And then maybe I'm going to slice a banana on top. 91. So see what I mean? It's about what you choose and put together into healthy meals that are easy. Does everybody have kind of their go-to breakfast? You know, maybe it's a gluten-free English muffin or piece of toast and you have some peanut butter on it and a fresh orange on the side. I do the yogurt parfait thing a lot. Whatever fruit I have, you know, I've got some blackberries up here. Most of your berries are all 100 on Nu-Val. So you just start thinking about what can you put in your cupboard so you can quickly and easily put those higher scoring meal plans together. What else do we have up here? We have the Shari bread, the multigrain bread, and that's a 26. And you might think, wow, that's low. Most of your breads are in, even the healthier ones, are in the upper 20s to maybe 30s. But we don't sit and eat a loaf of bread at a time, right? What do we put with it? Start thinking about that. What kind of items do you put with that bread? The Kind bars, if you're looking for a snack, those Kind bars are nice. They're, you know, all natural. There's nuts, there's fruits in them. And those range, if you're looking at granola bars, these usually range from the 30s up to 50. Because a lot of your granola bars are not high-scoring items. Depending, but a lot of them have a lot of sugar added, which is, you know, sometimes surprising, sometimes not. Soup, I have this butternut squash soup, this organic soup here, and that is a 39. Not too bad, but what do I put, you know, think about things that you might put with that too. Some type of a whole grain rice cracker, and, you know, maybe there's a salad on the side to make an easy meal. The brown rice pasta is an 81 right here. The Hodgson Mills, that's a really good score, isn't it? You've got a healthy pasta sauce, some lean meat that goes on that, again, a vegetable, quick and simple meal that you can have. The crackers, these are the hazelnut nut thins, and everybody knows the nut thins, right? We all love those, and those score fairly well because nuts, most nuts, almonds, by the way, and the walnuts are the highest scoring nuts on Nu-Val. Just the flax seed itself, which is right there, the golden flax seeds, 91. Now, no one's going to sit and eat a bowl of flax seeds. That's like in the cereal aisle, Wheat Bran is 100. Well, raise your hand if you ate well, you know, you didn't eat a Wheat Bran, but, you know, really, who's going to eat a bowl of Wheat Bran for breakfast? You know, you have to use common sense, too. We know flax is really healthy. I keep ground flax in my refrigerator, and I sprinkle it on other things just to kind of bump up the nutritional value. Great source of omega-3s and other nutrients. The granola that I have over here, the Berry Crunch, gluten-free granola, that is a 31. So, you know, it's kind of in that upper end of what the cereals rank, so not bad, but that would be another nice addition to my healthy yogurt, right, with some fruit added. And I think I talked about the rest of them. Now, other things that are in the store, you know, obviously the dairy, when you look at the dairy, we've got now Meijer brand 2% reduced fat cheeses. And when you get the reduced fat cheese, there's typically 3 grams less fat per ounce. and that's saturated fat, and it's still all natural cheese. So that's just a choice I make myself, because why not? It tastes the same, and I'm getting 3 grams less fat of saturated fat. And things like the string cheese, these are all the healthy things you want to keep on board, because you know when you're eating these types of things, you're getting some nutrition for it. Now, most of your cheese you're going to find is only in the 20s for Nu-Val. Saturated fat, right, naturally is in there, and sodium. That's just how cheese is made. I asked, who was it? Somebody came up with a low sodium cheese. I think it was Sargento. And I said, oh, could you make a lower sodium cheese that's also low fat? And they said, we tried that, and it just did not taste good. And we got it. It's not nutrition if we don't eat it, right? So it could be the healthiest thing in the world. If it tastes horrible, we're not going to eat it. So it's not nutrition because it won't get in our body. But all of the fruits and vegetables, of course, you know that. Anybody, celiac disease or not, people do not eat enough fruits and vegetables, and those are the true disease-fighting foods. How many cups a day should we have of colorful fruits and vegetables? 5. I see somebody's hand up, 5. And that's a really good number to remember, because 5 cups is easy to say, well, 5 servings, what's a serving? 5 cups, 5 colors, remember that. 5 colors are out there. So you've got the greens, the oranges and yellows, reds, blues and purples, and don't forget the whites, things like onions and mushrooms and cauliflower and bananas, they're white. All of the different colors actually give us different nutrients and have different benefits for our body. So that's important. And there are 5 ways to get your fruits and vegetables. Fresh, of course. Canned, we talked about. What about frozen? I keep frozen fruit, frozen whole strawberries. You know, I keep them in my freezer to make smoothies out of. You have, a healthy vanilla soy milk. You've got a banana. You throw in some frozen strawberries. You've got a great breakfast smoothie. Dried is another way to get them. We're going to put some dried cherries in our quinoa salad that I'm going to mix up here in a minute. And then canned. You know, we talked about canned, frozen, fresh, dried. Oh, juice. I missed juice. Now, I caution people to get too much of their fruit servings from juice, because why? What are you missing when it's all juiced? The fiber and a lot of the nutrients, yeah. And you'll find juice scores are not the highest either. Some of the orange juices that have calcium and vitamin D added, they do go up. Meijer has these now that are in the produce department. And they're just all natural, organic vegetables that they're ready to throw in the microwave fresh. They're really, really good. Convenience, I love it. Colorful peppers, I mean, just all the wonderful, healthy things that you can buy. Because, you know, again, I know there are some things that you need to buy to replace some of the wheat products in your diet, and some of those can be expensive, right? But it needs to be a balance, and there's a lot of other things in the store that using Nu-Val, I think you can begin to see, you know, where you can find that health and balance it with that affordability as well. Now, I gave you all a handout, that green handout that you see there. And I'm not going to walk through that entire thing with you. It really is just to take with you. It goes over the gluten-free diet, which I know a lot of you know, and but it goes over some things that you could be lacking in your diet too. People who follow gluten-free might be missing iron, calcium, fiber, thiamine, the B vitamins, right, that they enrich wheat products with. So it talks about that and things that you need to do to watch that, and how to stay on a healthy gluten-free diet. You know, making sure you watch the carbohydrates. We all need to do that, and that they're good carbohydrates that you're getting in. That you're not, because you're gluten-free, you're just not going to all of the refined carbohydrates and sweets, gluten-free sweets and baking mixes, but still looking for those whole grain products that you're able to eat, and fruits and vegetables, of course. Fruits and vegetables are carbohydrates. They're just healthy carbohydrates. You know, again, it says there, try to stick to foods that aren't going to raise your blood sugar. Again, those refined products raise your blood sugar and make you feel like you're hungry again, over and over again. Fat is not our enemy. Remember that too. Moderate amounts of fat in your diet. That's what digests the slowest and kind of gives you that feeling of satiety where you don't get hungry. That's why when we put peanut butter on our toast in the morning, you stay full longer, don't you? That protein and that fat that's in there sticks with you for a longer time versus if you just had okay, I'm going to get this really refined bakery muffin or a couple of breakfast bars, gluten-free breakfast bars, and a glass of juice. Well, that's all very refined carbohydrate. And within an hour or two, you're going to be starving because it's going to make your blood sugars go like this and then like this. Whereas the protein and the fat keeps it at a more even level, which is important for all of us. When you are choosing again, meat, look for some seafood, lean meats. We talked about all of that. I give you some sample menu and food ideas there. So for breakfast, maybe there's a whole grain hot or cold cereal that you can eat gluten-free. And then, you put some fruit and some low-fat milk on it and maybe add some of those healthy walnuts. When I have my hot cereal in the morning, I always add a little handful of either walnuts or almonds to that because, again, that little bit of fat and protein is going to stick with you longer. Gluten-free muffins or bread made with whole grains, peanut butter, and we talked about that, fresh fruit or juice. Gluten-free whole grain waffles or pancakes topped with fruit or nuts. Yogurt, we talked about that. The yogurt with some crunchy cereal on top and fruit. Or a smoothie, which we talked about as well. Bunch of lunch ideas there, some very healthy lunch ideas. There's a quinoa salad right in the middle of that, and we're going to make that in a minute. I'm going to show you. They didn't want me to sample the quinoa salad because at Meijer you have to have some insurance or something. And anyway, you'll see me make it. And I'll eat it and I'll go, oh, this is so good. But you'll see how easy it is. At least, and you'll have the, did we get the recipe for that out? Oh, it's back here. Yeah, we'll hand that out. I've got two recipes, actually. One just showing you how you can be very gluten-free and very, very healthy, too. One is a summertime salad that has asparagus in it, and the other one is the quinoa salad that we're going to make. And then Melissa's got some of our Healthy Living coupons, and I brought them mainly because, and I know there's wheat crackers on there, and don't think I'm crazy. Doesn't she know we can't eat those? But why I bought it is the other three coupons you can use. One is $1 off 2 pounds of salmon at Meijer, healthy. Our 2% cheese, which I just talked about, and then those vegetables I just talked about in produce, $1 off those. So those are good coupons. So I know you can't eat the cracker one, but the other ones were good. So I've got lots of those, so if somebody wants to take a couple of those, that's fine. I think they expire the end of June. Is that what it says, Melissa? Yes, the end of June. And then there's some dinner menus on there. Very simple. Again, it doesn't have to be complicated. You could pan fry some tilapia fillets and serve with instant brown rice and broccoli or sautéed spinach on the side. Grilled chicken, piece of grilled chicken with the quinoa salad that we're going to make and some green beans. A salmon fillet with a sweet potato and a green salad on the side. Difficult to make? No. Very, very simple, but we're starting with wholesome, real, nutrient-rich foods that we're just putting into simple meals. And then there's some snack ideas down there for you as well. So lots of good info there. Oh, we're just about on time. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to put together this recipe for you. And I'm going to use this holder. He told me I can do that, I think. And we'll just show you how easy this is. And I pre-cooked all of this so you could see, and pre-chopped everything. But here we have quinoa. And what I did is I just started with a cup of quinoa, and I toasted it just a little bit to bring out the flavors. Has anybody ever done that? Toasted it? Yes. Just put it right in a pan with nothing in it on medium heat for about 5 minutes. Keep kind of moving it around. It starts to crackle. It's kind of a cool sound. When it starts to do that crackling and you can kind of smell the oils coming out of it, then it's done. Then you're done. Yes, did you have a question? Oh, what is quinoa? Oh, it's a grain. I was thinking everybody knew what quinoa is. There's quinoa right up here, and so you can come and look at it. Bob's Red Mill quinoa. So it is a gluten-free grain, and it's very high in protein, complete protein, so it's really nice to cook with. And it kind of looks like, if you know couscous, but couscous you can't have. It kind of looks like that. So it really kind of is a cool looking, if you look at it, it's got these little, looks like little tails on it, I always want to say. So it's kind of cool. So what we're going to add to that, and I don't remember the order because I don't have the recipe up here in front of me, but we have some 3 scallions, some green onion that we're going to add that I just sliced thin. And then I smell the onion. Woohoo! Some celery, couple stalks of celery, Now, could you make up other things and put in here? Yes. And Melissa, what are the scores on that? The quinoa is 91, 96 for celery. Okay. See what I mean? Nutrient-rich foods, high-scoring nutritional value foods that we're putting in to create simple menus. Now, dried cherries are not the highest score. Why not? Sugar. Raisins are in the upper 80s, but dried cranberries and dried cherries, they have to add sugar to them or you couldn't really eat them. They'd be kind of sour. So that's why the score drops dramatically. But hey, we're not eating that many of them, right? And we're still getting nutritional value from that. And then pistachios. What's our score on the pistachios? Oh, it doesn't? I must have forgotten that one. Or maybe I didn't know it. But I think they're one of the higher scoring nuts. They're not as high as walnuts and almonds, but they're a pretty heart healthy nut as well. Again, and with the nuts are mostly fat, aren't they? That's why we have to watch what we eat, portion size of them. Even though they're healthy, they have a lot of calories. If you're eating healthy foods all day long, but you're still eating too much, can you still gain weight? Yeah. Yeah. It's still calories, right? So we still have, Nu-Val does not watch the portion size for you. You have to do that. So even if it's healthy food, and that's like nuts, we have to watch the portion size. Okay, then the dressing. So let me see if I can remember this without looking. White wine vinegar, Dijon mustard, olive oil, and a little coarse salt and pepper. What did I miss? Did it? So I pre-mixed that. Ooh, it's tangy with that mustard. And that's our quinoa salad. Now, you could add greens to this. You could put it on a bed of greens if you wanted to do that. But be nice with a fish fillet, right, next to it, or a piece of grilled chicken. And really, really healthy. That's a nice summertime salad. Could you add bits of chicken to this? You could. You could create your own. So I love mixing up things like this in the summertime and having them on the deck because it's just easy. So making some pasta salads with your gluten-free pasta and some of that would be great as well. I really want you to taste this. Wonder if I take it back down to my booth. You could serve it cold or at room temperature. Either one. Either one. But you can come and take a look at that. Okay.